The Daily Reflections for May 2nd, entitled Lighting the Dark Past. Cling to the thought that in God's hands, the dark past is the greatest possession you have, the key to life and happiness for others. With it, you can avert death and misery for them. It's from Alcoholics Anonymous, page 124. No longer is my past an autobiography. It is a reference book to be taken down, opened, and shared. Today, as I report for duty, the most wonderful picture comes through. For though this day be dark, as some days must be, the stars will shine even brighter later. My witness that they do shine will be called for in the very near future. All my past will this day be a part of me, because it is the key, not the lock. All right, cling to the thought in God's hand, the dark past is the greatest possession you have. Greed, the key to life and happiness for others. Okay, with it can avert death and misery for them. All right, so I think obviously that's talking about what our lives were like as a drunk and how we can help others with that. And in my experience, that was really sitting down to do a fourth and fifth step with a sponsor, talking about some of the grossest, most shameful part of my life, the stuff that I didn't want to tell anybody. And then my sponsor was like, oh yeah, I did that. Immediately, because he had a similar background, a similar past, it completely took all that shame away, because I knew that I wasn't unique in this, that he had done it too. So we can do that for other people too. I also think that for me, it's not that I think about my past all the time, but I don't block it out. I don't make excuses, and I share about it pretty openly in meetings about my struggles, how I ended up institutionalized for a few days when I was in the Navy, and the suicide attempts. Because had it not been for that, I wouldn't have gotten into AA. And had I not gotten into AA, I would have gotten sober. Had I not gotten sober, I wouldn't have truly had a relationship with a higher power. Had I not truly had a relationship with a higher power, I never would have started meditating. Had I not meditated, I would never have basically been okay to be a part of the universe and not to feel like I had to control the universe. And when I was swimming downstream with the universe, when I wasn't tethered to a aircraft carrier, swimming the opposite direction, thinking that I was going to change the direction of the aircraft carrier, when I understood that the only thing I had to do was put forth the work, the effort, and leave the results up to my higher power and the universe, well, then things started to change. So the first step of that journey to get where I am today spiritually and mentally was, ironically, in a psychiatric ward. No longer is my past an autobiography. It is a reference book to be taken down, opened, and shared. Today, as I report for duty, the most wonderful picture comes through. For though this day be dark, as some days must be, the stars will shine even brighter later. I really like this because I love the concept of good things, good and lasting things coming from terrible experiences. Okay, I can't say terrible, because in the aggregate, they're actually the most wonderful things that we go through, because it provides the basis for lasting and transformative change, real change, like a real reset button. And I also like they used reference book right next to duty, because I was in the military. We had a lot of references. We had a lot of they're called emergency procedures. So if this happens, then you do this. The reason that there are there's a saying in the Navy that all EPs are written in blood, which means the only reason that they exist is because somebody died doing whatever that was. And because somebody died, they wrote the EPs. So that tragedy in the past now serves to protect people in the present and the future. But it also gives them a solution to that emergency. So in essence, our past represents the person dying to have the emergency procedure written. And now that we have that EP written, and now that we have the solution for that emergency, a wonderful picture comes through. I really get a kick out of, for though this day be dark, as some days must be, the stars will shine even brighter later. Again, I was talking about all the difficult things that we go through. When we come out of it, we are always better. I guess for some people, though, it is used to reinforce negativity. So maybe not for everybody, but for me, I wouldn't say I'm excited about the tough parts or like the dark parts or whatever it is, however you want to call it. But at this point, I understand that it's going to be better afterwards. Because even if it's bad, at the very least, I'm going to learn a skill. Or at the very least, I'm going to learn that I weathered this storm and I can make it through. I did it. But more importantly, for the rooms, for drunks, especially in meetings, we get to collectively share the group's past. So when somebody went through something that I may not have gone through, I can not only recognize, but I can truly believe that whatever they went through, they got through because of the program. In a certain way, that scales, and those are now reference points and data points for our own lives. Because if we face that situation, in our brain we can be, oh, well, Joe went through that, and he turned out all right. He made it through. And I can talk to Joe and find out, what it was like. All my past will this day be part of me because it is the key, not the lock. One of the most wonderful things about the program is perspective and understanding that the bad things that we went through became the greatest things for us personally. Do not regret the past nor wish to return to it. There's one thing, so in my story has relapse as a part of it. So I was sober I call it sober, but I didn't drink for 13 years. 5 of those years, maybe 6 of those years, I was actively going to AA. And then the last part of it, I wasn't going to AA. But I didn't drink. What happened was that past started to become fuzzy. And instead of being able to see the evidence for what it was and how to use it as a tool to drive my behaviors today, I guess I just kind of completely forgot my past. Or at least it ceased being a reference point for what my present and future behaviors should look like. And then I went out and drank. Didn't even think about drinking, but I was on vacation. There was an opportunity to drink, and I didn't think twice about it. And there's part in the book that talks about we will have no defense against the first drink. Prior to that, it's laying the foundation about, if we don't have a spiritual connection, if we're not working a program, at some point we're not going to have defense against the first drink. And boy, oh boy, was that my experience. I think that's going to be it for today. I hope if you're watching this and you're trying to get sober that you go to a meeting and find a sponsor, or at least find someone you can talk to. If you are in the program, I hope today you reach out to somebody that you haven't talked to for a while. Send them a text. Be of service, be nice, and trudge that road of happy destiny. Thanks.